Okay. We are live, I believe. We are live. Let me triple check. We are live on like everything right now. Live on Facebook, live on Instagram. Feel free to join the stream, y'all. Also live on YouTube, which we're live on my YouTube channel instead of the larger Around the Corner YouTube channel, which that's going to be coming soon. We already have one video up that is about how to actually add your business listing, but that's going to be a additional thing that's coming in the next couple of months. But let me see here. Wanting to make sure everybody is able to find it. We're just going to have a couple of minutes of like basically waiting for people. This also, I'm using this as a little bit of like a working session. We're trying out some new things. So you're going to hear some different music. But we're just going to have a couple minutes of hanging out and then going to go ahead and get started with introductions. Introducing who I am and Around the Corner. I know that there are a lot of people watching the Tonys tonight, so that's kind of why I did this, is because I knew that there were going to be people watching the Tonys, and I am also going to be watching the Tonys, but I wanted to make sure that I could record this first. This music is very like mellow. It's nice. We're here, we're live, and I can't see who is like watching or anything like that too, which is a benefit to me. But if you do have questions, I am going to get notifications on Facebook and Instagram as well as on YouTube. So definitely drop questions in the chat, and if you have questions, we'll be able to answer them back. We'll be able to share the news. Actually, I can see. I'm seeing a couple of people are joining in now that everything is kind of out there. But I know that we have Tonys starting in literally 3 minutes. So we're going to make the most of the time that we have. This is only going to be about like 10, 15 minutes. So I don't want to take up too much time. But you're going to be able to catch the video or the recap here soon. So we'll go ahead in the next minute or so. Get started. But if you have any questions or anything as we're going through, definitely don't hesitate to ask. This makes me want to be a Twitch streamer in some ways. Just having all of the accoutrement. I'm going to post on our Instagram story that we're live. Smile, guys. Oh gosh, getting my face in it. It's not the classiest approach, but we are here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and kick it off, and I'll introduce myself and tell you guys a little bit about what's going on. So if you catch the video another day, Feel free to ask us questions. Feel free to reach out. Around the Corner is literally made to be a resource for the community. We're building this together. This is not just me doing it. It's not just one person or one company doing it. It's everybody. So hello and welcome. I'll tell you a little bit about me first. My name is Maggie Pendergrass. I'm a Wilmington local, born and raised. I left only for a brief period of like 7 years to go to college and to go work out in the world. I worked in disability and leave services, which taught me a lot about family medical leave and what that looks like for employers. I then worked as a freelancer and contractor at the same time in trying to kind of start my own creative practice. And of course, that takes a lot of time and effort. And I was fresh out of college and had a lot to learn. And so I decided at a certain point that I wanted to take a step back and kind of figure out what my next move was going to be. I worked in the film industry when I moved back here on a show called Reprisal. I met quite a few of my current friends that way, and then ended up working in a marketing agency where I learned a lot about website development, marketing, you name it. I probably touched it at some point, and I now work full-time in the ad tech space. Around the Corner kind of stemmed from conversations that I was having with a lot of local small businesses, small business owners, coming from the idea that it was really hard to compete with some of these larger corporations. It was kind of a losing game when you were trying to spend a bunch of money in marketing, or you were working with an agency and they were like, well, you got to spend this much money to be able to succeed. And there wasn't ever going to be a way that they could really compete in the same way that they wanted to and make the money that they needed to. And so then on the other side of it, from a consumer perspective, I would have conversations with friends where they would talk about how much they hated ordering from Amazon, but they couldn't find what they wanted locally. So they would kind of sit there and be really frustrated about the fact that they were spending all of this money with corporations, but they knew that there had to be a business locally that had what they needed. And so Around the Corner was very much born out of that. I remember one specific conversation where somebody said, they were like, yeah, I would buy local, or I would buy from X business if I knew that they had what I needed. And it's just easier to go in the search bar of Amazon and search for what I need and order it, and it's here in 2 days. When in reality, we know that takes quite a bit longer. So Around the Corner came from that. I made a post in late December on a Facebook group here in Wilmington, and over 600 people commented with the names of businesses or the fact that they were interested in something like this. And it really was born out of that. It was never meant to be something that was just out of the blue, oh, I want to start a business doing this. That's not necessarily where this came from. So this is very much a focus of supporting small businesses and helping people engage locally. Our tagline, as we kind of have been saying, is helping you shop small and support local. And that's very much, what we're building here. So obviously I'm going to keep an eye on the chats if people have questions. So please feel free to drop them if needed, but we're going to do a walkthrough of the website, talk a little bit about what is possible, what may be a next step here, and what we're hoping for as we kind of continue. So we'll go ahead and hop into it now. Let's get it going. This is my first time that I'm using this particular, here we go, this particular feature. So let me make sure that it's sized for you guys, because here we go. Awesome. This is the fun part about trying out new tech, is that you kind of can figure out what works and what doesn't. We're getting it like mobile sized for you. Okay, here we go. So I'm sharing my screen here. I'm on desktop, obviously, but a little bit again about Around the Corner. The name Around the Corner comes from the movie You've Got Mail, The Shop Around the Corner. I was watching that one night while I was working on kind of Around the Corner 1.0. And I didn't have a name for it. And then I just kept hearing Shop Around the Corner. And I realized, oh, well, that'd be a cool name to do, like Shop Around the Corner. And nope, it came out from just around the corner, because obviously we're talking about fitness centers, we're talking about wellness salons, or different sorts of businesses that are not just shops. We're talking about restaurants, cafes, entertainment venues, you name it. We're kind of talking about everything. So to kind of walk you through the site, when you're looking at it on mobile, you're going to see our hamburger menu, and this is going to break out basically everything you need. If you are a dark mode girl like myself, you can switch over to dark mode. We have that capability. And then you're going to see our main tabs here, which is home, browse, resources, about, and contact. Main one that you're going to be using if you're an everyday user is going to be our browse page. And we'll go ahead and hop in there. And there's a lot here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is getting not necessarily a redesign, but a reskin in version kind of 2.5 that's going to launch probably later this year, or not later this year, later this month, later this summer. The reason being is right now it's working on a couple of different factors when we're looking at your filtering options. And so that's going to change a little bit as we add some additional functionality for business owners. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now we've got about 86 businesses. If you are a small business owner and you haven't already added your listing, we're going to walk through how to do that. I know that earlier this week there were complications. Hopefully we fixed everything from an authentication perspective, but as always, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. So we'll go ahead now and hop into a couple of these. You'll see that some of them have the default placeholder, and that's because we don't have an updated photo from the business. Some of these businesses were carried over from our kind of 1.0 version. And so we definitely want to make sure that those photos are updated. So you can add a logo here. As you can see with Sun and Shine Vintage, they did that. We've got a couple of others that have done the same. If you are wanting to claim your business, you can do that as well. So if you know that your business is on here, but you don't have access, you can either reach out to me directly at hello@aroundthecornerilm.com, or you can come in here and claim your business. So for example, if I wanted to claim Around the Corner, there we go. My keyboard was not working for a second. It's going to search, and I already have this one claimed, so it's going to not show for me. But then you're going to come in here and submit the email address. And if it is available and the email address matches that which you already have logged in with, you will be granted that access. Otherwise, it'll come to me for approval, and I'll be able to help with that. And that really just ensures that we don't have any sort of fraud or anything like that, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to not have access to their business. That's why we're not built, entirely with AI. Is like, we know that sometimes you need a human touch. So we'll go ahead and hop in to a couple of these filters. So some of the main filters that you'll see are really those that are the easiest to access, the ones that we think people are going to be using quite frequently. We've got promotions only, physical locations only, delivery available, open now, and then your additional advanced filters. You also have the ability to nominate a business. What this basically means is not every business knows about us, and not every business necessarily has the in to be able to know what information is needed or what information is available. So you can actually come in here and you can submit your information first. The reason why we do that is if there's any sort of issues contacting the person, or if somebody is just like, I need to know like who nominated me so they can help, whatever. We're not going to release your information without your permission, but it just helps us make sure that we have your contact information. And then you'll have your business name, the email address and phone number. These are optional because normally we can reach out to the business and let someone know, hey, here's the update. If you include the email, they will automatically get an email inviting them to be a part of the platform, and then the website, of course. So as long as we know that business. So then we've got the filter for promotions only. So this is going to be representative if a business has gone in and actually set up promotions, so they can schedule them if you're a small business owner and you have a market coming up, or if you have a sale that you want promotion for, or something like that. You can come in here and filter by promotions only, and you can see that that business now has a sale. Then if you wanted to favorite this business, you can absolutely do that as well. And then you will have that business in your profile, in your dashboard, so that you can see anytime that they add a promotion or something like that. We're working in future states to actually add notifications. So if one of your favorite businesses does add a promotion to the site, you'll automatically be notified. That's a long-term goal for us. Mainly because notifications, push notifications, stuff like that, all of that takes time and money, and we're not doing a ton of that yet. But we're actually going to use Last Looks here as kind of our example profile. So we've got their logo. You can see here that they don't currently have any reviews live. Now, those reviews are actually provided by individual users. So you'll see here that there are 0 reviews currently. And the reason for that being is that I've submitted a review for them, mainly because I've shopped with them before, but I've submitted a review, but it is still pending with the business owner, meaning that the owners still have to go in and approve the review before it's, officially cleared. And we'll talk more about reviews in a little bit, but we've got some different categories where you can kind of see more information of what was your experience with them. And we also have, would you recommend working here? So this is new, and this is really for users who have worked at that business. We don't show any of that information publicly when it comes to how many people have reviewed whether or not they would recommend working there. We don't provide any user information. We don't capture that information. So if you have worked at a business before and you're like, I don't necessarily think that it's a great place to work, you can come in here and do that. And again, that's based off of user reviews. You can also come in, see that sale, more information about them. You can also see some of their galleries, their information, if they've got particular products that they want to feature, or if they want to spotlight some of the work that they've done. You can also see what classifications they're under. So if they've got, if they're considered body inclusive, if they are film friendly. So Last Looks is a film, they work specifically with film and TV productions. So they are a great example here of being film friendly. Then you can also follow them on their social channels as well. So then we'll go back to our main browse tab here to look at some of the other options. So physical locations only, this means that there is a physical business address associated with that business. Something that we've found with a lot of our small businesses is that although they may have a physical address that is available, they often, that's often like a residential address that they'll use. So if you do not input a physical address in our platform, you will automatically be labeled as a virtual mobile or market vendor. Doesn't mean that you don't deserve the same, patronage as anyone else, but you still have the ability to be found here. So then we're going to remove that filter. You can also do delivery available. So this is basically if there is somebody who you want to, order from or something like that, or you need something delivered versus pickup, you can filter by that as well. There's also Open Now. This is a kind of a 2.1 release that came out earlier this week. You can actually go in and put in your business hours. So if you are open from 9 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can go in here and add that. And if you are currently open, it'll have an Open Now ticker. Basically, it'll say that they're currently open. So if you're trying to look for a business where you could pick something up quickly, you can filter by Open Now. Then we get into our advanced filters, which is really what I think kind of makes us stand out. It makes us different. And this is something we're going to be expanding over time. There's a lot of information here, a lot that people are probably going to be a little bit confused by in some cases. But with our categories, we tried to cover just about everything. But we also know that there are some businesses that exist kind of in the gray areas here. So you can come in, you can select multiple if you wanted to. If you're looking for something in particular, but it may not necessarily fit. You can also say, okay, well, I also am going to be in Pender County next week, and I want to find a place where I can eat lunch. You can come in here and do Pender County. We also have areas. So obviously, Cape Fear region is quite large. We know that this does not cover all areas or neighborhoods. Again, something we're going to be adding over time as we get more businesses that kind of exist in some of these maybe more rural areas that people don't know about, or that they want to expand and grow into. So you can also filter here. So if you live in the Monkey Junction area and you only want to find businesses that are maybe in a 5-minute drive, you can do that as well. Then we get into really the interesting section. And this is what Around the Corner really was focused on from the get-go. Around the Corner was built to help support businesses that may not otherwise be supported, or may not be supported in the ways that they need to be when it comes to being able to publicize events or publicize their products. Maybe if they are mobile only, they're only at a couple markets a month, they're kind of harder to find. They're not going to be paying hundreds of dollars to do marketing when they may not be focused on growth in that way. So we've got things like ownership identity. So this is historically what you would find when you're looking for like women-owned classification, Black, Indigenous, people of color owned, LGBTQ plus owned, Pride Month. Definitely a great opportunity to use that filter this month. Make sure that you're going and supporting queer-owned businesses. We also have veteran-owned, as we just celebrated Memorial Day going into 4th of July. We also have first generation owned, immigrant owned, disability owned, and neurodivergent owned. So all of this is really important when we think about businesses and where we want to spend our dollars, what kind of businesses we want to support. These are our businesses that we really wanted to focus on kind of lifting up and making sure that, if people wanted to support those businesses in particular, they had the ability to do so. We also have the same with values and commitments. Again, something that, especially early on in our conversations, kind of building out 2.0, a lot of people said, well, I really want to be a patron of a business that I know I can feel safe and included, or I want to support businesses that help me feel heard and seen, or I want to support businesses where I know my dollar is going to go farther, or is going to support people that, in turn, I know that they're going to kind of support the community that's around them. That's where things like community driven came in, of businesses that are actively involved, whether that's at the neighborhood level, putting on events, supporting people. Maybe they have, community festivals. Great example is the Cargo District, a business that is really a part of that and helping grow that community. That's been really important. Recovery supportive. This was one that I heard a lot when we were talking to friends in bars and in breweries, or restaurants that had recovery supportive for things like eating disorders or sober living, things like that. That was really important. Interfaith friendly was a priority for us, as well as mental health advocacy. All of this, especially when we look at some of the categories that are more healthcare focused, that was also a priority for us. Again, lots of filters here. I know businesses are going to be like, what if I support everything? Don't worry. You can absolutely put that you support everything. We also have a couple of things on the business structure side. Business structure wise, this is where things get a little bit interesting, because there are going to be people who are like, well, I'm an independent business owner, but I technically work for like a larger corporation. This is going to be kind of social marketing, multi-level marketing kind of companies, or maybe it's a franchise where you own the franchise outright, but because you don't necessarily work with a corporate partner, but you use the corporate name. That's going to be kind of a tricky element of this, but we wanted to ensure that we included Wilmington-owned franchises or Cape Fear-owned franchises. So great examples of this are things like Clean Eats. That is now a multi-store chain, but it originally started here in Wilmington. The same thing goes for franchises like Port City Java. Obviously, with mobile businesses, that can be vendors who are pop-ups. Obviously, you may fall into a couple different categories. And then, of course, online only. That may be for vendors or members of the community that don't have a physical location or don't meet with people physically. We also have accessibility and hospitality. This is going to be really great for physical storefronts, brick and mortar. They're pretty much self-explanatory. But we wanted to make sure that we included that both accessibility and hospitality and pet friendliness, because the last thing that I want as a pet owner, as you could probably see the dog bed behind me, last thing I wanted as a pet owner was to walk in somewhere with my dog and then obviously my dog's not welcome there, especially when it comes to places like restaurants or breweries. The same thing goes with kids of like, sometimes there are some breweries or bars that you'll walk into that have like areas specifically for kids. They've got chalk or they've got games, stuff like that, where maybe, you know, some bars and breweries, not the place for a kid, right? So then we also have some specific options for restaurants and apparel, or restaurants and specifically handmade products, things like that. All of this is pretty self-explanatory, so I won't spend a ton of time there. But I am going to check and see if there are any questions so far. Okay, I think my Instagram live may have frozen, so I'm going to double check that real quick because I just got a message from a friend. So let me see that here. Okay, cool. I didn't. It's not frozen. Awesome. I was panicking for a second. But cool. So let's go ahead and dive into the parts that I think people really want to see. And I know that I said that this is going to be 10 minutes, but I'm having a good time. So when you originally, I'm going to show you what happens when you sign out first. When you initially kind of go to look at the site, you have the option to log in and sign up. So if you're going to be a small business owner that wants to use the site, you're going to want to register. Or if you're going to be a user that just wants to go on the site and leave reviews or engage at a deeper level, then definitely going to want to set up an account here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. We'll do this one. As you can tell, I test this quite a bit. So when you log into your dashboard is going to look very similar to this. And you'll have, let me actually go back a little bit because I just realized it. When I made it too small, it went into mobile view. So in the desktop view, you'll have these tabs up here, but in the mobile view, they will be down at the bottom. I don't know if I can change my name tag here. Hi, Kelly. Awesome. Yes, that is going to be really helpful for seasonal businesses. And we do have some options rolling out here in the next couple of feature releases that will also include options for what months you're actually open versus just having like a day-to-day seasonal or seasonality. So we'll kind of dive into actually setting up an account or setting up a business listing here. So then you'll come over here to the business side and you'll see that you don't have any businesses created. Obviously, if you have a business, you're going to have one created. You can create multiple businesses. So if it is something where maybe you and your spouse or you and your partner have one, or you have one on your own, we don't recommend, if it is basically the same business but just under two different names, definitely don't recommend that kind of situation. Just list it as a franchise. Something that we're, again, rolling out in the future. I'm just one person. I can't do it all. But something else we're rolling out is if you do have a franchise, the multiple locations. So instead of you having multiple listings, you would just have one listing and then it'll list multiple locations there as well. So we're going to go here to create business. It's a multi-step process, but it goes by real quick because not everything is required. We also have this video available on our YouTube page that does have kind of a quicker version that just addresses kind of the required steps here. So first, you're going to enter your business name. So we're going to do Around the Corner, and I'm going to say ILM because we already have one there. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of an about section here. Of course, it's So this is from our About page. And then you can select multiple categories. We're going to select community. I'm going to say I'm an influencer. I like to think that. And then we're also going to do publications. You'll see that it kind of tags all of them here. You can click in to modify them if needed, if you want to add more. We're going to add our, and then you can also add your phone number. We don't require a phone number, but if it is something where we do have to reach out at any point, or if we start doing any sort of push notifications, we do recommend having one at least on file. I always recommend saving your draft. You'll see it up here. Once you've saved your draft, it'll actually register, and then we'll keep going through. This is where you're going to input your location information. If you don't have a physical address, if you are not a brick and mortar store or you don't have a storefront, I don't recommend adding in your business address, because basically what's going to happen is our system is going to use that to ensure that you have that local connection. And in our filtering, we have a Find Businesses Near Me function where it'll tell a user how close or far away a business could be. So if you put your business address in here and it's actually your home address, it'll ping off of that. So we don't recommend doing that unless you have a physical storefront. If you don't have an address, you don't have to worry about it. Then we're going to have our social media. I recommend going in and putting in the full URL. That way there's no glitching on it. There's no issues. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to go through this duplicative process since we've already got a listing ourselves. But we'll go ahead and into the business tags and classifications. So obviously, if you are somebody who you're like, well, I fill in a lot of the blanks here, recommend focusing on the things that you want to kind of speak to. So for example, for Around the Corner, we're women owned, neurodivergent owned. So those are two things that we specifically want to focus on. And of course, it does this to me while I'm on a live stream. Okay. So that's why we have the draft option. Okay. And we're going to save our draft. Okay. I know there were businesses earlier this week that reached out to me and said that they were having issues. So of course, this happens while I'm on a live stream. So if anybody's watching, hello, this is embarrassing. So essentially, once you get to our tags and categories, unfortunately, that is not working at this moment. I'm going to make sure that that's fixed for us. I'm not sure why when I went through and did kind of our dress rehearsal earlier, it was working perfectly and now it's not. I highly recommend, if it is something where you are finding issues with the site, please, 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 please reach out to us. Send us a screenshot, send us a screen recording, mainly because it helps make us better. This is built by essentially a one-man team with help from the community. So please, please, please reach out. So once you get to the hours and services and images section, it'll give you the image sizes and image components that you need. And you'll be able to go ahead and get those uploaded relatively quickly without too many issues. So once you have that loaded up, you can then hop into the browse. It'll automatically be approved in our system. I go through and I QA just to make sure if there's anything that we've missed. On that note, I am going to sign into a different account for us and show you what it looks like on the back end. So you can actually see what a business looks like in real time. And of course, I'm an admin, so I get all the goodies here. So you can see that once it's kind of loaded in, you can see what we have available as far as those options. Accessibility, of course, you can tag that in. You have your business hours. We don't offer delivery because we are not that kind of business. And then you can also have your promotion flag here. You want to make sure that you keep that included. And then you can schedule a start and end date. clear that promotion. Sundays we're usually closed, but not today. Then you can add in your gallery of images as well. And that is setting up a business listing. It'll go live, like I said. But if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Please reach out through our contact form. Eventually, we're going to have a chat option for when you can just like essentially submit a ticket. That's the tech girl in me. But then we've got our collaboration hub. This is still very much a work in progress. This is a beta version that's been released to all of our businesses and all of our creators as well. So if you're considered a creator, you can go in and create a creator business and you'll still show up like you would anything else, any other business listing. But if you are a creator business, you are able to come in and create a service offering. So for example, if you are an influencer or a creator that does photography, or you specifically make content about restaurants in Wilmington, you can come in here and offer your services, offer a particular package or deal, and then you can select your experience level and that pricing. So this pricing is not locking you in. I want to clarify that because we did get that question. It's not locking you into, oh, well, you have to charge this much. It's just ensuring that a business owner looking at your listing understands how much they could potentially be paying. So for example, if you are entry level, you're kind of getting your feet wet in photography, maybe you're going to be charging between that $25 and $100 range. We also want to make sure people are paid fairly. So if they are wanting to potentially get more experience, we don't want people setting their prices too low. Now the budget range here as well, I don't know where that thumbs up came from, but the budget range you can also set here. So if it is a particular package or something like that versus more of an hourly rate, you can set that budget range. Timeline, you could say, okay, well, I'm looking to do this, for the next 3+ months, or it's an ongoing deal. And then what services, what counties that you're serving. As you can see here, we've got more than just Wilmington. So this would be if you are a creator, where you would potentially be looking to travel to. So for example, if you're willing to go to Charlotte, you can put that, hey, I'm willing to go to Mecklenburg County. Same thing goes. It's literally the exact same setup for a business owner. Specific requirements, you want to be as detailed as possible of what you're looking for to ensure that a user, if they do go in and submit their information or if they submit their interest, that they're willing and able to accept that. Then you can come in here and filter accordingly, and you'll be able to find users who are offering those services. We've already got one here by one of our businesses and also a good friend of mine, Liza, who is a part of 10-4 Studio. She's great. I worked with her a couple years ago, and she does fantastic graphic design work. So got to plug that. But if you want to add any additional service offerings or anything like that, you can always do so. If you want to just do one kind of catch-all listing, you can do that too. You'll also see some additional tips here of what to include in your listings. Now, the Collaboration Hub is kind of a phase one of many when it comes to what we're looking at doing for small businesses and helping support them, but also ensuring that locals that may not necessarily have their own business, but maybe want to support businesses with their skill sets, have the ability to do so too. Speaking of locals, my dog here. Then we've got our account. This is just going to show kind of the information about your account. Obviously here for me, this is going to show 79 businesses, mainly because the way we kind of upload them into the system for an admin level, it just shows under mine. But we also have additional resources that are really helpful if you're a small business and you're looking for, there we go. If you're looking for additional resources, we've got everything from local organizations, small businesses, grants and loans, all of that fun stuff that may be beneficial. We do have an additional tool that's going to be coming out in July and August that will be much more immersive than this, and have much more information for you. If there's anything specific that you want to see, or if you are an organization that supports small businesses and you want to be included in these lists, please let us know. Send us an email. And then we've got guides for locals as well about writing reviews and engaging on the platform. And again, I just sent out a notification or a push on a new thing that I developed. And of course, it's doing all this really fun stuff for me. Like I said, guys, it's embarrassing when you work really hard on some of this. Let's go here. Yeah. You can tell I don't code, and I'm having to kind of learn on the fly. Well, anyway, with that being said, the last kind of piece de resistance on our search features is the find businesses near me. So this is going to pull specifically the location where you are, and it's going to find businesses within about 44 or 45 yards. Now, with that being said, for me, I use a VPN, so it's pinging off of a variety of towers, so it's not showing the exact location, but you can use that to help find businesses that are local. This will likely be deprecated in our next release. The main reason being is that it does rely on Google's API integrations. If you don't know what that is, it's a fancy term for the fact that we are relying on Google's patronage to be able to support this feature. This is absolutely something that we want to do in the future with maybe a mobile app version, but right now it is very difficult to do affordably. And very difficult to do in an easy way. So that's something that we may be looking at in the future, deprecating. But for now, it's there. Keep us posted on your feedback. But you can also subscribe for updates. If you don't want to create a user account, you can subscribe for updates. We're going to be sending out updates on all of our releases over the course of the next couple of months. Hopefully you guys find this beneficial. It's only going to be beneficial if businesses are a part of it. So please, 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 please share, continue supporting us. This is free. That's kind of my final note. This is totally free for businesses. You do not have to pay. You don't have to pay to leave a review. You don't have to pay to use the app. It is entirely free. If somebody tells you different, I don't know what to say, but it is entirely free. And at the end of the day, we want this to be something that is beneficial for businesses. We don't want people to feel like they're getting kind of shafted on this. We want people to really use it and appreciate it. So of course, if you have any questions, any issues, obviously the issues that you guys saw in the live stream tonight are definitely going to be fixed. But we're really excited about what comes next, and a lot to look forward to. Like I said, I'm a one woman show. This is not paid. This isn't a paid app or anything like that. But if you are wanting to support, share with your friends, get more people to know about it, just spread the good word. We're going to be getting some new business cards, new flyers and stuff that'll be posted around here. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm going to open it up for any additional questions. As we have, I think we've got a couple people that are still watching. Obviously, if people are rewatching the recap. But if anybody has any questions, speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay. I'll take that as a no. So with that, again, please share. We're going to keep improving. Send us an email. Let us know what you want to see in the next version, and we will keep you guys posted. Thank you so much for supporting us in our first week of being officially live. Obviously, 1.0 has been live since January, but this 2.0 version we're really excited about, and look forward to continuing to support and helping people shop small and support local. And with that, I'm going to go turn on the Tonys and support some North Carolinian performers over there. So y'all have a great night. Have a good week, and talk to you all soon.